most efficient.
Yep.
I'm doing that.
That way, we don't have to trust your notes.
You can hear it. You can
have
hear
the
it.
actual transcript.
All right. Well, very good. We're recording. Welcome, everyone. I know that Leo said he's at some state meeting today, and Susan, I think, unfortunately has a daughter in the hospital. So hope everything's working out with that okay. And then Gary has another thing that he might be back here around noon or so. But I think we can go ahead and get started. First thing I have is, Tim, you and I have kind of been doing some additional conversations with Cohesion. I could probably even go out here and log into the database if you wanted to, or we can just kind of talk about it as well. But right from my perspective, we've got things in place and ready to roll.
I think so.
You want to follow up on anything with that?
Sure. Let me begin by thanking Ed again publicly for all of his support and help in keeping things moving along. As he indicated, we're, I think, ready to launch. The database is up. We got our final administrative training, as I think I mentioned in my email, on Tuesday. There's still some things to learn, but the best way to learn, I'm convinced, is to get in there and start doing some course research. Before I forget, though, the thing that I wanted to first mention was another thank you to Ed and to Megan Noel for the first inaugural Faculty Fest online course showcase. I thought she did a great job. I don't know what the attendance was or how many people you
I
had.
think we had 30 some.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was trying to do multiple things at the same time, and I looked over on one of the other, I was wanting to make sure we were broadcasting first of all, so I had a second device setting over there, and I looked over on the chat, and we had 30 some people online.
Wow. So in the C2C list announcement probably drove a lot of that.
Yeah.
We also pushed it out to all of our faculty.
Yeah, good. So I didn't have a specific list of who, because we were using what we call a webinar approach on that. And we can use it for the rest of these sessions if you want to. I think I looked over and there was like 39 people that were logged in. And then the other thing was kind of tricky was watching the chat process so that if there were questions that we had to monitor that. And I did see your chat questions, Tim, so I was pretty comfortable with it. I don't know what anybody else thought about it or perhaps had a chance to take a look at the recording or not, but.
Well, I thought you did a great job, Ed, and I've never used the webinar feature, so it sounds like it's a little different and challenging, but I thought you did a great job of moderating, and which leads me to November 17th, Central Missouri is on board, Laurel. Do you have a faculty member, of course, that you have in mind or can send me?
Sure, Kathy?
Kathy?
I might have to do Kathy's course, or I could have probably see if Odin's available.
That'd be great.
What is the structure that I'm supposed to, in terms of direction, should I give the faculty member?
I can send you that information.
Okay.
Ed just did kind of a nice introduction and Q&A, and asked a couple questions, as I recall, Megan. So
I can share the questions I used with you if you want to. I think it was just, I started off by asking, why they got into online teaching to kind of give an understanding of, their interest. And then the rest was just kind of walking through the course, having them kind of demonstrate the syllabus. I'm trying to kind of get into this routine of what in the OLC scorecard are we going to be asked to take a look at. And so, the syllabus was a big part of it.
Assessments,
the rubrics. Megan was also she's starting to do tying in with learning outcomes that we have within our D2L environment. And so those were things, the welcome message, how do you reach out to students to get them started, feedback, how do you give students your feedback. So I can send those questions to you if you want to. Doesn't mean it's the set that we maybe should always be using, but it worked well for me. because I gave them to Megan beforehand, so she at least was, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
She was at least aware of what to expect. The other thing that we used was a blank course shell. We didn't have students, just like what you would do a course review in. I didn't want to have something embarrassing pop up where I have actual student names and student information that I would then have to throw myself in front of the screen or stop the broadcast. So making sure that we have like an empty shell that, you know, pretty much has everything there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and just a couple other quick observations. I really liked the way that she described the four-part structure and the way she dealt with assignments and deadlines and those kinds of things. And then just visually, a lot of graphics and some videos. And so clearly she's had a lot of experience. My impression was she's very much into continuous improvement, not just I did this 3 semesters ago and I'll change a link or two and it's good to go. I'm thinking eventually what would be nice, not that, you know, we have to have a prescribed format per se, but once we've actually gotten some reviews done, it would be nice if we could kind of showcase those that have gone through and that, particularly if they've achieved the exemplary rating, and then focus on, because I think it would be, again, a way to promote, here's an alternative to QM that really leads to online excellence, and come join us. So.
Well, I'm already, Megan was because she was asking about QM, and she's been asking about it. I'm going to have her probably go through this, or her course go through the process. So I'll send you the check, Tim, you know, whatever we need to do to get that process started, but she's very willing to start putting her course out there as one of the first ones to
Great.
Go through the process.
So I'll look forward to getting your email with either.
Okay, what time and how much?
It's 3 o'clock, Thursday the 17th. And Ed did a little run through, I think, a day or two ahead of time, which is probably a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, the dilemma that
Will
will.
be hosted on your software or?
Well, here's the dilemma. Yes, we can, we could. That's when the OLC conference is going in Orlando.
Oh, so you'll be in Orlando?
I'll be in Orlando. And I mean.
Kathy will be in Orlando.
So, I mean, I could probably go find a place to start the process to get it up and going. And
do you guys have Zoom?
No.
I mean, there's a very good chance I can, because it's on Thursday afternoon.
I have Adobe Connect, but.
Well, you could use Adobe Connect if you want to.
Okay.
I mean, part of it is providing a webinar option for people to sort of share what they're doing.
Yeah.
So if you use Adobe Connect, that's the same thing as Zoom in my perspective. It still does screen sharing. So if you wanted to, that would be fine.
Yeah.
If you could maybe record it, that would be great too, so that, you know, I put it out there for C2C afterwards, but if you'd prefer just to sort of only do selective sessions as part of a marketing ploy.
Well, actually, now that you mention it, can you pull up the Kcreache website, Ed?
Is it an hour?
It's an hour, and part of our thinking was about a 45-minute show and tell with 15 minutes for Q&A, give or take, you know. I'm pleased to announce if you go to the resources page, I got an email from Gary this morning. He's changed it per our request.
Okay, it says it's waiting, so it's coming up.
And right there at the very top is the recording of Megan's presentation.
So they embedded it in.
So they embedded it, and it's about 58 minutes or something. So whoever's going to do it, not that they have to do it like Megan did it, but if you want to just send them to the kcreache.org/resources page. Actually, I think he even changed it to call it Quality Assessment Resources, which is kind of nice. They can see exactly how they did it. And Gary, if you, or Ed, if you'll scroll down a little bit.
Right here?
Yeah, no, just on the page.
I think I'm down to the bottom. Well, wait a minute. That's it there.
Hmm.
We got the,
Go back to the main page where the quality assessment. When I looked this morning on my phone, he also had the 3 files that I had sent, the OLC handbook section on course structure standards, the other document PDF on teaching and learning
I think
standards.
it's here at the bottom, Tim.
Okay. Oh, okay, there is the link.
I think
Sorry.
they're kind of just, maybe
Hard to see.
your phone may look more like
Yeah.
this.
Yep, exactly.
What it looks like. So on the
It is.
website, it does.
Why don't you just click on the first one, though? Because this connects to the information was released.
And Terry was going to put those links in there then too, right?
Well, he did. So in the cohesion database, at the top of the scorecard, Terry embedded a link to the page we were just looking at, which then takes whoever wants to see it, but I'm thinking primarily the course peer reviewers, to go to these sections that I just, copied and pasted out of the OLC handbook on the course structure standards and then the teaching and learning standards. And then the third link is the overall process. And we can certainly add the peer review instructions if we want. So if somebody's, in doing the review, adding some comments or whatnot, and they want a little more, they can't remember exactly what it was in the OLC, they've got a link that takes them right there. So this is an official thank you to Gary for putting those up there per our request, along with the faculty showcase. So just add very quickly to move on from the showcase, and we'll look forward to whatever Central puts up.
Yeah, I gotta find somebody who runs Adobe Connect, because I don't.
Okay.
I mean, there is a chance, that if we get into a bind, I could go ahead and kick off a webinar and just let it run,
Yeah.
and then give presentation rights over to select people.
Okay.
So if we get into a bind, but if you have access to Adobe Connect, that might be better this time around. If I'm normally in my office, it's not a problem, but on the road,
Right.
I'm not sure.
My only question would be, does Adobe Connect, which I haven't used in quite a while, as a viewer, does it require any download, or is it just a link like Zoom that you click on and you can?
Well, there is even Zoom has a client.
But it's pretty minor.
I would say Zoom and Adobe Connect are very easy to use. They don't take a lot to download and get the client up and going.
Well, here's my last question then, and then we'll move on. Since you used the webinar, you said you had 39 folks, because typically it's 25 connections. What does Adobe accommodate, or,
I know nothing about really Adobe Connect, other than the fact that we have a very expensive license for it.
We might check and see, because that might be an issue.
Go ahead and do this. Go ahead and, the other thing that could happen is that if you do have a limitation on it, I've got people back in my office that could basically get the thing up and going. I mean, we do this for sidelight.
Yeah.
So if you would even prefer, I can do that.
Okay.
That I could get somebody on my staff to go ahead and get the dang thing up and going. And then they could sort of monitor that and administer what's going on.
Do you think we're going to have low attendance because of OLC? I've got probably 4 people out.
Not knowing who attended last time, it's hard to say. I think that putting it on the C2C list helped. And
I think we have to do that again.
Well, and I think if you look at this, I was blatantly marketing, our consortium. And I think that is something that. Well, good afternoon, everyone. And I hate listening to myself.
No, I thought that was
It
great.
didn't even sound like you. I was like, where did that come from?
But I had this little slideshow set in the background, so
That was
running, coming up to it, and would go on to the different membership options and just stuff like that, so that when 3 o'clock came, I jumped out of this and started right into the.
Are those slides that we could run the same?
Sure, I can send
Every
those to you.
intro, so that we.
I was just going to say,
Same.
yeah,
Yeah, we can send those to
since
you.
you've already taken the time and effort to create it, why don't we just?
Sure.
Yeah, why don't we just use them?
I mean, the thing that we do need would be, you know, who is going to be your presenter and a bio from them if possible. Because, you know, at least that's something that I put on, I think one of these pages was a little bit of something on the
Yes, you did.
and then I'll send you the questions. But what I'm thinking is, let me see if we can just run it off of our web thing.
Sure.
If I can get one of the guys back in the office to do it, we'll just hit the record button and record it and get it out there.
Sure.
And I'm pretty sure that what happens is similar to what you see here. There is a manage participants, and I can move people that have logged in to a presenter role. And if we could do a test prior to that Thursday,
Okay.
that way we can sort of go ahead and set that up and everybody kind of sees what that looks like. I will be in the office on Monday of that week, so that might be a better possible, you know, or the previous week, I don't care, to kind of do a walkthrough of what that might look like if you want to do something.
Okay.
And I'm all recording here, so it's official that Ed has volunteered to do all that.
Hold you to it.
Thank you, Ed.
All right. What day is that, Monday? Is it the?
Probably the 5th.
14th?
Is it the 5th?
14th.
14th,
Yeah,
because I
okay.
fly out at 7 on Tuesday, 7 a.m.
All right. Well, try to get somebody identified by the end of this week. And then.
Thank you.
So Tim, anything else on the database? I mean, what would you want us to do? Basically, recognize that you've sent us emails to log into the system, I'm guessing, and to give you a list of people.
Well, just very quickly, I sent yesterday 2 documents, the review process outline and the peer instructions. I still think it would be nice if we could create that internal orientation session or training for the reviewers, but since we're going to begin with people who've gone through QM training, I don't feel as much angst about having to provide that before we start doing some reviews. It would also be helpful, I have a list of reviewers from Central Missouri and from Metro. I forget the numbers. I've entered all of those people. They're all, you know, QM trained folks. I think there's maybe a dozen or 15 from Central that Kathy sent me. Deanna sent me about 8 or 9 from Metro. So that's a good start, but we're certainly going to need more than that. There are some gaps in terms of the subject matter expertise. So everybody else, if you have some QM trained.
Geez, I'm ahead of something.
You are, Laura. It would be helpful to get that information so I can create user accounts for them. And, you know, there are a couple of limitations we discovered on Monday, like not able to create a report of users, which I found a little not disconcerting, but as long as I have the spreadsheets, the format that I sent out, I can just aggregate those and, you know, search by, you know, academic expertise or whatever. And then lastly, I need some courses. So,
Okay, well, I'm ready to recruit faculty to take their courses through this.
Great.
It's just a conversation I really haven't had on the campus, but we went ahead and renewed our Quality Matters institutional membership. But I wanted to start taking this to academic council, educating them on kind of the shift that we've made here at Kcreache and what we're trying to develop and support and get some buy-in. And so I'm ready to recruit some faculty to go through that process.
And I'm looking at Kathy's chat messages. We're working on training and orientation now. That's what Susan and Becky and I are doing, and I'll put mine through as what Kathy is saying.
Great.
Is what I'm reading anyway.
Good. Thank you.
You know, I've got Megan sort of in my mind. I also am kind of waiting to see if I learn more information at the OLC conference. The Tuesday morning.
It's the same as Missouri Western.
Okay. Tuesday morning, Kay Shelton and Jennifer Matthews are doing Mathis.
Mm-hmm.
they're doing a pre-conference workshop on getting the peer reviewers for the institutional rubric up to speed. And so I've paid for that. And I'm kind of wanting to get the bigger picture of what's going on. But if you remember right, they were talking about a pedagogy rubric, and I'm going to push them on that because I'd like to see what that looks like.
Yeah. Because we talked about adding that into the coursework once it's up, and maybe even replacing the teaching and learning standards with whatever they're coming up with on the pedagogy.
So, you know, definitely I've got one, maybe two classes coming up, but I'm kind of waiting until I get some information from the conference and see what that might look like. Now, I'm assuming there'll be a lot of other people that it sounds like going to this conference, and hopefully we'll hear some other stuff too at the same time.
Well, I have one last thing, and then I'll shut up and let you get on. This is actually a twofer. First of which is I'm going to poke a little fun at my former institution, since we still don't know who the rep is. So I brought a token Ichabod here to be representing Washburn. I also brought some leftover Halloween candy to sweeten the deal here.
There you go.
But most importantly, I think as another incentive, once we right the ship budgetarily and we have, you know, a plethora of new members joining us, that we should bring back the Roden Award with a $500 award to go with it. And this is just a thought. What I had in mind was, you know, if we added that to the budget, any course that goes through our process that reaches exemplary would be in the finalist category. And then we might have some other criteria that we would want to look at that people are comfortable with, you know, average student ratings or other kinds of things related to excellence in online teaching and learning. And, you know, we used to give these out along with the cash prize. I think it was done at the institutional level. So just final suggestion, let's, you know, up the ante a little bit and get moving on this. So.
That was even before my time.
Oh, that's right.
I didn't even know about these awards, so that's kind of cool.
Did you receive one?
No, I never received it. But we had a couple of faculty that, and it wasn't even a competition per se. It was just if you met the standards. This was, you know, the quality reach thing that we did, and they were the same original QM standards from the FIPSI project. At least at Washburn, we gave faculty, I think it was $250 in one of the little Roden Awards. And they thought it was pretty cool, so.
Okay, and Roden is R-O-D-E-N?
R-O-D-I-N.
I-N?
Yes.
And is it named after somebody?
Auguste Rodin, the French sculptor that did the Thinker.
Oh, okay.
Which I had to Google again this morning because I.
No, like in our case, there's a monitor or a computer in front of him. He's
right, yeah. So. Well, yeah, he doesn't have the laptop on it. Well, in that day, it was a full-size computer.
It was. So. And of course, I forget where it was before Gary's time. Maybe it was Mike Zeller, but somebody found these on. Maybe it was Leo. I don't know. Found these online for $50 or something. I think so.
So Nick is asking, how was the winner decided?
The winners back then were just, if you met the standards, you automatically got.
Okay.
The consortium provided the Roden Award. The institutions were up to them if they wanted to provide any kind of further recognition, which at Washburn we did. We wrote them a check for $250. Yeah.
So it wasn't like the consortium was writing the check. It was, they provided the statute, and the institution could then follow that up.
But what I'm suggesting is, if the budget would allow it, that we actually have just one of these, and that in order to be eligible for consideration, you have to go through our QA process, and you have to reach the exemplary classification based on the review. And thinking positively, so maybe we have a dozen courses, or faculty have done that. Then, you know, maybe we look at some other criteria, as I suggest, that I would think the steering committee could look at. And
well, we could present it at our annual meeting.
Yes, perfect.
And
wouldn't that be
Alice
nice?
and Roden Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in front of the.
Along with a big old check, you know,
Oh,
kind of like
right.
the publisher's clearinghouse.
So the university issues the check based on how many from our institution were awarded exemplary status.
Well, I'm suggesting just one for the consortium as a whole, and the consortium would include that stipend in the budget.
Oh, okay.
And if institutions wanted to do something beyond that on their own, like we used to do, that's fine too.
Okay.
You know, the other thing I don't know that we've worked out the details on, were we wanting to provide like a logo or any kind of a badge that would indicate that this is a Kcreache certified course of some type?
My suggestion, Ed, is not certified but endorsed. And I think in, the original proposal, we did say that courses that meet, and I think it's even in the outline here. Number 7, KC seal of recognition also sent if the OLC standards have been accomplished or are exemplary. So we would need to get some graphic artist maybe to take our existing logo and just put, you know, endorsed or recognized or something underneath it, and people could stick that on their course page, just like the QM thing.
Okay. Well, very good. You know, once again, I think you put a lot of work too, Tim, into this, and I appreciate that. I think now it's the point where we need volunteers, we need courses to come forward and start doing that. Part of that $500, I think, cost also, we get some kickback on that, right? So it's not all being divided up. It's not a lot. We get some does come back into sort of Kcreache, that maybe if we get enough, maybe that helps pay for these, or the Rodin or whatever we're looking at as well.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, very good. And I think the other thing that like Susan and Becky and Kathy are working on is the training. And do you guys have an idea of a timeline or when you're thinking that might take place? Yeah, as Tim takes a bite.
I'm looking at the chat. I'm like, yay, Kathy even volunteered to be the faculty showcase. And Mike Jeffries, I think she's saying that he can help us with the Adobe Connect part, so we could run it from Adobe Connect. I'm just not an administrator on Adobe Connect, but if we had Mike on board, that would be great, because he is. I don't know who else is.
Well, let's do.
So really, all you need to do, Ed, is send the PowerPoint promos slide to the preamble.
The questions I use.
Yeah.
Well, how about this, everybody? Can we, it's like 2 weeks from.
And Nick has one for January.
We've got 2 weeks of the OLC conference. Maybe let's wait to do this orientation when we get back, because there might be some stuff that we learned at the conference that might sort of change some things in that way. I'm okay even if we say we're so busy right now, we do stuff starting next year, the first of, them, if we can start getting things queued up.
Okay. Well, I have to get on academic council so that I can present to the department chairs. So that will give me time. That will give me a few weeks to see if I can get on the next one. And if they shove me to the next one, then I'm out another month. So, but I'm hoping that that's not the case.
Well, feel free to share any of these documents with whomever.
Okay. No, I will.
Appropriate to get the ball rolling.
Great.
And Nick said he's got showcase in January. Excellent. I'll just send out to everybody the questions that I asked in the PowerPoint, and then you guys can do what you need to do with that. Okay, we are looking at platform, possible Google course. That might need more information on that, Kathy. I'm not sure what is that for the orientation that we would use a Google course to sort of house the orientation, I'm assuming?
I assume so. And that would be interesting.
Probably the most agnostic.
Not Moodle. Okay.
Yeah.
You got a lot of exclamation points there, Kathy.
Have you all decided on the color for the pages for the handouts yet?
I don't like blue.
This is honoring.
All right. Pink and purple polka dot. Okay. Website status. So say one of the things that I'll just kind of let you know is that I've been reaching out to potential members, and I actually talked to Butler yesterday. Kaylee, I can't think of Kaylee's last name, but I think it's Kaylee. Anyway, she is new at Butler. She just started about 3 months ago. Comes from New Mexico. And so Meg had given me her contact because she's now in a vice president's position. And so we visited on the phone, and the first question she asked, after I gave her the spiel, was, do you have data on the website? How many people are coming to our website and actually taking a look at the courses? And I said, no, but I can get that for you.
Here's the handout.
And so I think that Gary ran some data, and I apologize for those of you that are online. I'll get copies of this to you so you can kind of take a look. And I haven't even looked at it. I think I just walked in the door, and basically, I guess there might be better details in this for you guys if you want to. But keep in mind that we made that changeover from the Weebly site. I'm thinking that was back maybe in the summer or something like that. But I didn't bring my glasses with me, so any comment, those of you in the room here looking at the data, it looks like they had about 400 or 540 sessions. There's about 1,300 previews, 465 users, and it looks like that is starting with July 1 up until now. I do have access to some of the data that we go back. What did we have prior to the website? I can kind of compare that. So I can certainly take this data and share it with Butler, and they can. If the rest of the group remembers, Butler really isn't part of the broadcast range of KCPT, so they really had no interest in being part of the television market here in the Kansas City area. She did say that there could be some interest in the database, and that's why she just kind of wanted to see what traffic and stuff would be there.
As I recall that, we changed the membership this year so that full membership at $5,000 includes everything. Affiliate at $2,500 includes everything except the KCPT television spot.
Correct.
So it includes the searchable database. And it seems to me that if you're not really local, like maybe Mid-America or even St. Mary's, which has physical presence here, more people are going to be interested in the affiliate membership because it's not going to benefit them that much, other than maybe if they drive to the ads drive them to the website and the database to find Butler courses. But that's a long-winded way of saying that for an institution like Butler or any affiliate, the website, it seems to me, is of less consequence than the QA process that we're trying to put in place, along with, a seat at the table and the committees and all the other perks and benefits. So,
and a lot of our affiliates, QM was the reason they became members. Yeah. Okay, they know that.
Well, that's all I got out of it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So and that's when I was talking with Butler, is that they are an OLC member, like a lot of the rest of us are, and they did not renew their QM membership or do a separate thing. So
they did not. They
did not, and at least they haven't yet. And they are interested in what we're doing, but I think just as an aside, they wanted to know, well, what traffic do you get
Sure.
there? And so I thought that was a fair question.
Absolutely.
One of the other concerns that you might want to bring up with Jennifer when you're at OLC is the fact that now, in terms of our membership through OLC, it used to be open to anybody at the institution who wanted to create a profile on the OLC web page is now limited to 30.
Was that a new
And if
thing?
I'm going to recruit, yeah. And so if I'm going to recruit my faculty institutional wide, then 30,
Doesn't get you very far.
no. So I don't know if that's something that Jennifer can say, okay, you know, we've got these ties with the consortium and these institutions are, you know, not only have their own QA process, but it ties into what they're doing national level. And I would really like, if we're going to go this route, push Kcreache and then OLC. And so that when we're talking to like HLC, we've got layers of QA there.
But I'm also trying, I mean, I've been out there, I've logged into their portal a lot of times. What are we getting with that? I mean, I can get access to maybe the official scorecard, okay? Aside from that, there's not a whole lot of anything else in there.
Well, so I was thinking if they were going to sign up for that pedagogy, if we were going to use their pedagogy training, do they need to have their own institute? No, they don't.
No.
Not to attend that training?
No, it's a lot like QM, in that you sort of have a person that can sign up other people. So like in the case I attended training, I also signed up.
Faculty member.
Yeah.
Oh,
So when I go in as a sort of a participant in their portal, I can put other people's names in there and I put their email addresses in there. And when I put their name and emails and then pay for stuff, it automatically fires off an email to that participant that gives them access to the Moodle space that they have. So it's kind of similar to what QM is like, is that you sort of just put their name and their email in there and it does that.
And members, all members get some discount in all workshops, do they not?
Yeah, they do.
I mean, I don't think it's huge, but.
Sure. But I guess the only other advantage would be in an official way, you can create your own institutional scorecard. And I don't think you'd want 30 people out there doing that. I think you would only want certain people in there doing it.
No, I was thinking for like the mastery series or any sort of registration for training, that they would have to create their profile and then attend that.
I'm almost positive that you put an email address in there, you put their name in there, and then that fires it off in an invite to participate in the Moodle space that they have. Is the way I've seen that done. So.
So I misunderstood how that was handled, but that's great. I mean, if we can handle that registration for them.
Yeah, I get a little nervous about letting too many people out there.
Well, and I looked at our list and it was really old. So I've got people who.
Of the people who have profiles.
Yeah, who have profiles under our institution under the OLC membership.
So, you know, I do anticipate, I'd like to set up a meeting with Jennifer when I'm there and have, you know, obviously I'll be in her training, but if you have questions, anybody send them to me, you know, and we can talk about that. There's a lot of things going on our campus right now. I still want to get back to Johnson County to the institutional scoring process too, at some point. So that's probably something that maybe we can talk about next year.
The only other thought that I had about this that I think I suggested in a couple of emails ago was, once we're up and running and we've got the kinks and bugs worked out and we're feeling comfortable and confident with the process, you know, maybe we could open up the review process for just courses to all OLC members at a higher fee. So right now we're at $500 per course for an official review, quote unquote. And I was thinking maybe $750. And I think we talked about this a little bit at the last steering committee meeting, but restricted to OLC members. So we're not out there competing directly with QM in terms of course reviews. And as you may recall, I think a QM managed course review for non-subscribers or for subscribers is like $1,000. And for non-subscribers, it's like $1,400. So we would be quite competitive, but that might be another plus to OLC to mention a Jennifer as well.
Yeah, I think that
because I don't think they're going to get in the business of course review.
No. Well, and I think some of the sessions that are being I've never been to this conference, and so a lot of the sessions I'm seeing are talking about how other institutions do this. So I'm hoping to learn a little bit more about other approaches and how they break that out and make that happen. So excited about it with that. The other thing about the website is just a reminder that now you have control over what courses are now visible in the environment. So, you know, having your login and going in, I asked Gary, in this case here, there's actually 2 Johnson County community colleges. Yeah, and so as I hover above one of them, this is the E. Lovett one, and this is a different one. So I kind of probably need to visit with Gary about, you know, was this part of the first conversation that we had that is rolled over to the development side versus now? I need to kind of get that cleaned up, I think. Yes, thank you to Gary for getting some of these things cleaned up. There was another tab up there that had something about questions for, you know, enhancements, and I said I really don't want that up there either, because that was it looked like we were still working on this thing. So do that. The other thing is I need to go out at Johnson County and actually remove some classes because, you know, I've got stuff in there that I need to take back out. And
things have changed.
Yes, yes. So just another reminder to all of you, this is your space. If you want to do any marketing, it's up to you to put those things out there. If you forgot what your password is, there is actually a login down here at the bottom that says forget. You can actually fire off an email to you that lets you do that.
And we can update that profile that sits out there then? Can I update both of these?
Well, one, for sure, one of them you can.
Okay, because the other one's wrong. Any of the contact information won't go to anybody because the email address is wrong, but this one is mine, so this one would come to me.
So, you know, I need to tell Gary which one I don't need out there, and you all may do the same thing. The concern I have is that the E. Lovett, you know, about the beer truck, you know, what happens if, you know, that. In some ways I would rather have a generic one as opposed to having it attached just to my account.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions on the website? I think that, you know, it's our site. We can go out there, start populating it, getting things started. I'll share the statistics and stuff with Butler and other schools about that. Future members. I mean, one of the things that I have done is I've sent out emails, K-State, Mid-America, Marty Crossland at Mid-America, St. Mary's, and also Butler have those communications. I need to follow up again with Mid-America and St. Mary just to see, you know, what questions they have. The other question I have for you all is, I've toyed with the idea about maybe just inviting these members to a meeting, potential members to a meeting. We have a brand new collab we just finished on our campus, Collaboration Center collab. And I think some of you might enjoy seeing that. I'd be willing to host a meeting on our campus to kind of see the collab and maybe invite potential members to kind of have a conversation, you know, kind of a number of different things at the same time. We've got a light board that we brought up. We've got a studio. The Ed Tech Center has its own little studio now that we can do green screens and recordings and.
Which building is that in?
It's in the library building. When my new boss, Vince Miller, became the dean, he had to find a place to move. And so he was looking at some different spaces, and he ended up taking our old boss, Lynn's office, but he found another space that was very large and had one person in it, you know, from our division. And so I don't think the person was very happy, but it was a classroom, basically. It was a person's office that originally was a classroom. So we turned it into our own studio and the guys that they work for me. Well, Ed, we'd really like to have this thing. I said, okay. Yeah, but you don't understand. They won't let us. And I go, who is they, that won't let you? And, I've been there only 30 years, so I started making some phone calls and we.
Have you really been there 30 years?
Yeah, 30
Wow.
years. Yeah.
Wow.
So.
You need to retire.
I do need to retire. So anyway, I'd like to invite you on campus, and maybe, I don't know, maybe we can't do it in December, but maybe January. I know budget is an issue that we have going on. If we can swing it in December, I'm willing to host something on our campus and maybe have a.
Do it. December is going to be better weather than January.
Okay, let me see what I can do.
Okay.
But just come on our campus. We'll go in the co-lab. We'll have a conversation. I can invite potential members, have a conversation. If that sounds like that might be a possibility.
Yeah, Kathy and her team in Warrensburg have a very impressive studio, complete with the homemade light glass, green screen, you name it.
You have one?
Light board. Yeah,
Oh.
They actually made it.
Wow.
Yeah, we
Kathy's
did too.
team made it.
We did too.
Uh-huh.
This is a group I've worked with for a long time, and now I'm their supervisor. And they just get tickled about stuff. We can paint this? I'm going, yeah, we can paint it. And
You're enabling.
I guess so. So we made numerous trips to Home Depot. They figured out Ed has a credit card.
Yeah, to an endless budget.
Well, not quite endless, but it's a fun time. A lot of times we talk about you don't have to, you can go and have just as good a quality of stuff with some inexpensive approaches as opposed to the very expensive approaches as well. So that's exciting. All right,
Except for moving.
Yeah, except for all right. So that's my approach with the future members. I know that budget is an issue, and Gary would remind me that, we are kind of under our anticipated income moving forward, and I'm trying to court a lot of these schools. I'm also more than happy, and if Tim wants to join me, go out and actually visit with maybe some of their advisory boards or people that they might have on their campuses. So I'm more than happy to do that. So.
And I'm trying to remember, did we get a final decision on the prorating for new members for this year?
I think they were going to look at it like month by month. If we would take it in a 12-month and just kind of take that times whatever month that might be. I think Gary did want a decision by October on some of these, but.
Because if we could actually get 2 or 3 of these new members, at least as affiliates, beginning in January, that will certainly
Sure.
obviously.
So let me see if they might be available in December to come out and talk to them. Tim, I know you've been working with K-State and that team out there. I'm more than happy to take a trip out there if you want to.
If we could do it on Father's Day.
Well, yeah, we'll check on somebody that's supposed to be going to school and see what's going on. So,
Surprise.
yeah, hi, Dad's here. All right, and the rest of anybody, if you know of schools that maybe we could even do some cold calls to, I did reach out to Steve Rose.
Greg Rose?
Greg Rose. I keep thinking
yeah.
Steve, but
Yeah,
Greg, yeah, I sent him an email and just said, hey, good to see you at Sidelight, we'd still love to have you as a member. So, I can also do some other cold calls out to some of the other schools as well and just kind of, maybe invite them as well to be part of that.
You think Greg had any interest in rejoining?
Yes, he did. At Sidelight, he did. I think he said that, some of the administration had changed and there might be a different, thought about that. I think the price too. There is an option now. It's not
Right.
like it's all or none. Even if you could get people in as an affiliate,
Yep.
that's more money. for us to sort of be part of a database and be part of the review processes. So I think it's worth a shot, you know.
I do think that it will be an easier sell for the affiliate membership, given that it's half as much, and the only thing they don't get now is the TV spots. And I think the spot is well done, but, you know, if you're not a viewer, and unless you go to the website, you're never gonna see the spot. So, this is just a very short digression, but out of the blue, I got an email yesterday from a former colleague in the early 90s at K-State, who is now the provost at a small liberal arts school, I think it's Kcreache University in Michigan, in part because their president is working on his dissertation and looking for some focus groups and faculty interviews related to online courses and profits and whatnot. And so he was reaching out to, you know, former colleagues and whatnot. So at the end of the couple of emails, I said, well, Lance, you know, maybe you might want to consider joining Kcreache. Here's the website, check it out. That was just this morning. So, you know, we don't have to just think Kansas and Missouri. Sure. I mean, we do have St. Louis. I think I mentioned to you, I have a former colleague that's at UNO Omaha, who's new as their distance ed person. So I think we've got something to sell now in terms of a membership that's reasonable price, a searchable database that can benefit all our collective students, and a new QA process that, you know, is I think going to be a real nice alternative to the QM stuff. So,
I mean, another thought that I had as part of that was to maybe put together a little video, you know, that basically talks about these resources and put it into YouTube and use that as sort of a marketing tool. You know, you fire it off to people, they could click on it, they could watch it. Not that I like hearing myself talk, but yet it could be something that talks about these resources and that. So that's another thought that I had as well.
I think that's a great idea.
So,
especially since you have the new studio to produce it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have lots of makeup. All right. Any other thoughts on that? I mean, I look at this as being something, if you have ideas, you have people you want us to reach out to and talk to, send those people to do that. Let's kind of just go around and talk about what's going on campus. I want to make sure you guys are still awake out there. Darla, did you want to share with the group anything about what's going on up at Northwest?
It's pretty quiet right now. I guess the thing that we're working on right now is we're going to implement an online evaluation process for the faculty eval, the end of course evaluations. We had that in process a while back and it didn't work very well, so we researched and found another software, and so we're implementing that this fall. So we'll see how that goes. And it's actually integrated right into the Canvas site. So once we launch those, they're available for students to go in and take for their end of course evaluations. That's probably the newest thing that we're working on.
Is that a product that you've bought, or is that something that you're internally creating?
No, we've had a relationship with Scantron, the vendor, and they had, actually the original product was with them, but it wasn't really robust enough. So we switched to, they have a product called Class Climate that we're going to use.
Okay.
Class what?
Climate.
Class Climate.
We use that product too. I've been waiting for our IR department to give it the go-ahead to integrate with the LMS. I mean, it integrates with a lot of LMSs.
Yep.
So Class Climate. It's by Scantron, actually, I think.
Yep, that is.
So I'll be curious to hear how your success is with that.
Yeah, right now, with this first rendition, we've provided faculty an opt-out option. So we told them, I sent out a note and said, everybody's will be online unless you want to opt out, to kind of give them an option, not to force it on them. And we really didn't, we only had 33 faculty opt out to just use regular paper evals. So I was really shocked. I thought we would have a lot more opting out. Since we had so much trouble with an online evaluation process a couple of years ago, about a year and a half ago, we had a lot of issues with it, and they didn't feel like it was as good as a regular paper pencil, but I was really surprised that only 33 opted out. We have about 250 faculty.
Well, we've been using Kcreache for probably the last 4 years. And one of the reasons we went with it was because it did have a paper option. You can, build it and then either make it to online or do the paper version. And similar, Darla, to your conversation, we went that direction because people also wanted paper, and then we hardly had anybody now that wants paper. And there were some other products out there at the time that were really slick, but because they couldn't offer a paper solution, we sort of couldn't take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And do they have their own question set, or do you customize your own, or both?
We customize our own.
Yeah, and we've been using it for non-course evaluation surveys. I mean, it's a survey tool is really what it is. So like staff development things, professional development opportunities that we do. They also have like QR code things so that you can go out and put a QR code on something, and your mobile device can click on it and it takes you right to that survey and does that kind of stuff as well. So it's cool, but I'll be very curious to see how you're using that with Canvas, and because that's the direction we would like to go.
Sure.
Class climate?
Yeah, two words.
I think it might
Never
be.
heard of it. Excuse me.
Go ahead, Darla, any more information?
No, that might be the big thing we're working on now. It's a little quiet right now, but don't tell anybody I said that.
All right, very good. Nick, are you still online? Did you want to talk or do you want to chat? Well, you have the floor if you want to talk. Okay.
When people are calling in rather than using the computer audio, can you still mute them as the host, or?
Yeah, I can go up here and under participants, like there I can
Gotcha.
do that.
So he's muted, maybe that's part of the.
Well, let's do this. Why don't I go ahead? You want to go ahead and go?
Yeah. So actually, Kathy and I got to spend some time together yesterday, working on a new course for development in the online space, and we've had some third parties suggest that they want to develop the curriculum to be tin can compliant, and we're trying to figure out how Blackboard can support that sort of content creation. And Blackboard, mobile responsive, but it doesn't necessarily look the same as it would if you are on your desktop. And when I met with the Blackboard rep in August, they had suggested that they have this new version called Ultra, which looks nothing like your typical Blackboard shell. And so we're setting up a demo of what Ultra would look like if we were to go this route. And because what we're developing is non-credit, then I think we could easily get approval to move from what we have as our standard Blackboard shell to this new version, which is cloud-based through Amazon. What I'm confirming with Blackboard is that we can do it for a specific program and not have that conversion universal. So we're in conversations with that. Also, obviously, this QA process that we've undertaken through Kcreache is tying nicely into another campus initiative that we have, which was revising what we call our AP&Rs, which is an academic procedures and regulations document, and those are approved by the provost. It basically explains how we move through some of these things, like the development of a certificate program and what it takes to get approved, to, let's say, what a process would look like for having your course assured quality course online. So AP&R 11 is the one that addresses distance learning in our QA process, so we're busy revamping that, and so the conversation here is timely on campus in terms of what we're going to talk about and what AP&R could look like. We've also undertaken updating our what we call our distance learning classrooms on campus. So we still, well, one of the 3 distance learning classes I have online or on campus, we ripped out all of the old Polycom equipment, and then I've got 2 other labs that still have existing Polycom. 2 of the 3 we're going to renovate, and we've been testing a new product called New Line monitors. It's like made of Gorilla Glass, and it's amazing. From what I understand, though, the New Line product it's not necessarily compatible with Cisco, so I'm also exploring some Cisco solutions, which would then hopefully, and I'm being recorded, but ultimately would replace our Adobe Connect license with like a GoToMeeting, so that we can establish campus-wide. We're going to voice over IP, so there will be a lot of video conferencing phones, but there's still no reason why we also couldn't set up through our computers, our mobile devices, to communicate with one another instead of having those expensive phones on our desk. So.
You know, you might look at Zoom. Zoom does a lot of these high-end devices as well. And we were an Adobe Connect school for a long time, and we just couldn't afford it. Zoom came along, and just the reliability from our perspective is just amazing.
And they seem to, I mean, they truly continue to evolve and enhance their capabilities, it seems like.
Yeah. I mean, we still also use Cisco products. So we have the WebEx functionality through Cisco, but I've had some problems with cutting things out, not always working as well.
Okay.
And Zoom, it's just, the price has been very affordable. And then just they keep adding more and more things all the time.
Do you know if Zoom could be compatible with the Polycom equipment that I've got out at my rural schools? Because I know Cisco can bridge the new equipment with the old, in terms of what we've got out on in our rural schools, and then unfortunately most of them have just been upgraded with new Polycom equipment. So that means they're going to stay in place then for several more years as I'm upgrading.
Sure. You know, I mean, I don't know that I have the answer right now, but we do have a lot of existing, you know, ITV kinds of equipment that we have in certain rooms across campus that you can plug in those kinds of ITV or codes that you would use for, you know, point to point, and it works great.
Okay.
Well, as I recall, on their room capacity, and my knowledge is really ancient on this, the H.320 protocol, but that was one of their initial selling points. So my guess is you could find that out easily, and that the answer would be yes, that it is compatible with back versions or even current versions of Polycom and probably lots of other stuff. The one advantage that Kansas has is, and I assume Johnson County is taking advantage of the Canada state contract, which brought the price for Zoom down dramatically. I don't know if Missouri can or would be interested in doing that, but I'm sure Zoom would be more than happy to entertain us statewide.
Yeah, I think the other thing that we do is, yeah, we use Zoom, as Nick is saying that too, is that students can get free accounts.
Yeah.
And so they can get up to, I think, 45 minutes for free.
Right.
So they can do their kind of thing out there, and seems like, you know, it's pretty reliable, easy to install,
Easy to use.
easy to use. We've got a public speaking class that we just started this last year, and you know, the teachers are very concerned about, well, they got to stand in front of an audience. Well, there's actually a gallery view within Zoom that you can look like the Brady Bunch, or whatever you want to call it, so that all these users are out there being tiled. And so the presenter starts doing stuff, and they're standing there looking at, you know, 20 people at the same time. And faculty seem like they're okay with that, because they're trying to simulate presenting in front of people. And that seemed like that was an okay thing.
And one would think, not to belabor this, that if you were teaching a public speaking course, increasingly this is how public speaking occurs as much in professional arenas as what we're doing. So one would like to think maybe that skill set through this medium would be an important part of the learning experience.
And Nick says up here, I don't know if you can see it, it says that, you know, the Polycom, you can use a computer or a phone as long as the Polycom is hooked in. That's what we're doing right now.
Okay.
Too, is I'm basically just using the Polycom. And I like that because I have two-way audio that's going on, and it's cleaner than running it through a microphone on my computer.
Gotcha.
With that. So, any other things you want to share with the group?
I think that's it for now. Kathy ran off, so I don't know if there's anything else that she wanted to mention, but yeah, so those are just the things, conversations that are going on right now.
Excellent. So Nick, did you want to talk or chat? You're up. I'm sorry, it's not coming across very well. I'm going to have you go ahead. I can hear you, but it's very high pitched. So, and see, what you just said made no sense to me at all. Maybe I'm doing the same thing on your end. And I'm laughing. I'm going to have you do this. Go ahead and send me an email report to everybody on that. I apologize, but we were just talking about the great things about Zoom, and then here it does something like this.
It's Polycom's fault.
Yeah. Well, let me do this. I'm going to invite, like I said, when I was muted, I'm going to invite Leo and Susan to do the same, to kind of just send us a short little report on what's going on their campus. At Johnson County, I think I shared last time, our contract with D2L is a 5-year contract, and we're 3.5 years into that contract. And our procurement office has said it has to go back out for bid regardless. Because procurement says, unless it's a sole source, and they can't say that D2L is the only LMS out there, we have to go out for an RFP. And if we're going to go with a different system, I want to know far enough in advance so that, you know, we have some overlap there. So I've been spending the last month basically dusting off the old RFP. We've decided that we're going to go to a cloud host solution. And it's kind of gotten us into a bind in that with D2L, they're moving all their feature enhancements to the cloud-based system. And because we are an on-prem or hosted solution, we're sort of, we feel like stepchildren because we're not really getting all the feature enhancements and everything like that. And so we know we need to go to the cloud. It's going to take 2 days of downtime. We don't have 2 days of downtime right now. So we have an RFP that's ready to go.
And then shortly thereafter, you will retire.
Well, that was an interesting comment. Yesterday, we were in this meeting and they said, you know, we need to decide how long the contract would be because the current one is a 5-year contract. And I said, you know, I feel like we just get people trained and then I have to turn around and start looking at this process all over again. So we're toying with the idea of maybe a 6 or 7 year contract moving forward. I'm thinking 7 more years and my kids are through school and I'm done. Has nothing to do with a 7-year contract, but you know.
The timing would work out.
It would work out very well.
And by then there'll be another buyout probably.
So, you know, obviously, you know, Canvas caught our attention last time. Canvas continues to catch our attention through a lot of different, you know, observations. Another product has started to catch our attention called Schoology or Schoology. Schoology. Schoology is actually, we had a Gartner call yesterday. It comes from K-12. And they have a very strong presence in the K-12 environment. But the usability and the ease of use is very much like Canvas. So if you've heard good things about easy to use and all that kind of stuff, Schoology is in that same boat. They're a cloud-based, you know, that's the only thing they've ever been. And so as they change things, they're constantly updating stuff all the time. Gartner told us that Canvas is just exploding with new clients. They are hiring up to 30 people a week, 30 new people a week.
Wow.
At their, and so the only concern is growth, that could cause some pain within that
Does
organization.
Schoology have any higher ed clients?
They do. So we're kind of looking, you know, at what are some of the other non-traditional players out there as well, just to get them to bid on the RFP. But the Gartner group said, you know, you've got Blackboard, you've got Canvas, you've got D2L, and you've got this new one called Schoology.
Any idea what their price structure looks like?
Not yet, but I think that my understanding is that FTE is what the majority of these LMSs work off of. Blackboard, I guess, is the only one that kind of works off a non-FTE structure
For pricing.
So Gartner said they're all pretty much in the same ballpark, you know, as far as pricing is concerned. So that's going to take a lot of my time over the next few months in doing that. So fun. The other things that we're doing on campus is that we're having conversations around maker spaces, and that here in Johnson County, our central library in Johnson County has a makerspace. And I don't know if you're familiar with the makerspace, but you know, sometimes you'll see 3D printers and 3D axis milling machines and laser cutters. And at the Johnson County Central Library, patrons from the community can come in and reserve time and actually, you know, create things. And they're booked for the month of November. They are completely booked up. And we're getting some interest from different academic areas on campus. And so we've got we have four 3D printers now. And we're looking at maybe getting some additional equipment, maybe setting up a mini makerspace up in our ed tech area. And you know, and there's a lot of interest personally from me because one of my first degrees was industrial arts. I have a degree in I'm a shop teacher. So when they start talking sawdust, and, you know, making messes, that's right in my line. So, that's one of the things that my team is working on, is maybe coming up with some ideas with that.
You mentioned the collaborative lab, is there anything that you might want to share with the group on that?
Sure.
I'd never heard of a entity quite like that.
Sure. Our collab, our collaboration area on campus, is actually located on the first floor of a vacated. Our culinary program has its own building now, and so the space that were their kitchens and all that stuff was vacated. And I don't know how many thousand square feet it is, but it's intended to be wide open. And so as you walk down the hall, there's glass walls. You can look in, you can see stuff that's going on. Parts of it are sort of separated, not physically, but maybe there's a set of chairs facing towards one corner or another different corner of the area. And the whole concept is that student-to-student collaboration, faculty-to-student collaboration, faculty-faculty, come down and have conversations. And it's not just with the school, it's also outside. So, if there are companies and industry that would like to come in and have conversations, we're starting to do that. But it's really a wide open approach to stuff.
We have 2 of those spaces going into our new facility in Lee's Summit. Yeah.
So, it's exciting to see that. Can you bring your lunch there? Well, we're told no, you can't.
Well, the idea behind the space too is that if faculty want to use it for project-based, experiential type learning space, they have a briefing room over to the side to take their class into, brief them on whatever it is that they need to do or work on, and then the students go out to the space and they collaborate during the class hour on projects with the technology involved to accomplish whatever project it is.
So, and we've got a recording studio right next to there that's, our area that does that, as far as teaching-wise, takes care of it, but yet it would be available for projects. We have a gaming lab we brought up that's right next door, and then we're going to have a motion capture studio also attached to that area.
Is the gaming lab for students, or is it for actually development of gaming exercises within a class?
Could be both.
Could be both.
Yeah.
So development as well.
Yeah, these things, I look at these computers and I'm thinking, my gosh, where do you check the oil at? Because they're huge. These CPUs are, and it's because they need horsepower to do the processing, the graphics processing for gaming. And so it's not a little computer. These things are huge that they have set, and they've got dual monitors everywhere. Because I guess, when you do that kind of thing, you need the programming codes showing up on one screen, along with maybe what that end result looks like over here on the second screen. So we've got a lab set up with that. So that would be part of the tour. If you guys, can come out in December, is to see that space. We're also having, we did ask an architectural firm to come in, a consulting firm, a year ago and start talking about our facilities master plan. And so they presented to everyone on campus here in August about totally redoing a lot of our spaces on our campus, in turning them into more open spaces with more glass, and that those would maybe be more on the first floor of a lot of our buildings. So as students are walking on the first floor of buildings, they see more collaboration options, they see the things that they need as students.
Who's your architect?
I can get that for you.
I was just curious. Sounds like the design on our building. There's just glass everywhere.
Yeah, there is.
And the walkways or the corridors in between are actually meant to set up as extensions of the classroom, so they can bring their class out into that hallway. And so you've just got a huge quadrant that's just a giant open learning space when you move the glass out all that.
So, the college is looking at investing a lot more money into that kind of a thought. I'm in the library. I'm part of the division that's with the library, and they're talking about moving resource centers into the library. So we have like a math resource center, we have a writing center, we have about 3 other centers, and they want to bring them all into the first floor of the library.
Are they in different buildings now?
They're in different buildings right now, but sort of co-locating them all in one space. And, that's got a lot of people nervous, because we've always done things a certain way for so long. So it's a whole different way of thinking. The librarians that I work with, they're a little nervous, because they're seeing books go away and stuff like that. So, but I'd be happy to share them. It's a public document, so I can share that document with what they're thinking about doing. They're also looking at putting money into promoting active learning in classrooms. And so we have about 8, we call them learning studios, that have the movable furniture that you can move stuff around. And so they're giving each of the divisions, I think it's $1 million that they're splitting up between all the divisions. And so our division, they tell me, would get $100,000. And so Ed, go dream, go think. Doesn't mean you're going to get it, but you can go out and kind of think and come up with some active learning thoughts. You were talking about one of these boards, these touchscreen, and I'm toying with the idea with my staff of having a mobile touchscreen monitor that we just take it wherever you want to. And, faculty or students can come up and touch this monitor and move things around. There was something called...
About $10,000 for an 86-inch screen, but it records, picks up your voice.
Yep.
It records all of the images and creates them in slides, just like that.
Sure. So there's another product, I think something...
Working at Google.
Yeah.
Well, and Google has a board, something J-board, or some kind of a board that's around $6,000 that uses all the Google tools and everything like that to... So it's exciting to think about that. The dilemma becomes, I'm fine with buying onesies of different products to see how they, might look. Our procurement office and IS wants standardization on everything. They want one same device for. I'm thinking, great. So that's kind of a dilemma that I'm under right now. Is I'd like to just try purchasing maybe one of these different devices and see which one catches the attention, because one size doesn't always fit all. There's different areas on campus that might have different needs.
Well, Ed, I don't know where the money's coming from, since the state was down, as you know, another 13 million last month. We just keep going further and further. Although I guess we were 0.4% above a year ago's revenue, but we're still. So is this property tax money or tuition money?
I don't know. I'll send you the document and talk about that.
Institutional reserve,
You know what I mean?
being spent a little bit on investing.
It could be. I think one, you have to keep in mind, Johnson County, every year for as long as I've been there, is always building a new building. And we're always doing something.
Right.
And I think we've reached that cap of the face-to-face environment. And so now that money that might go into a building maybe goes back into renovation of existing buildings. And so I think that's what they're doing, is trying to go back and re-look at existing structures. How can we, redo those?
Do you now have more students in MTC's entire
We do? I don't know.
collection of campus?
We have about 20,000.
Yeah. Probably more.
I think I have close to 6,000 online students too.
Yeah, that's
So,
amazing.
That's a good question for maybe we covered this back in September. Enrollment is up everywhere or up slightly?
we're increasing.
More online than campus?
Well, we're seeing the growth is coming from online.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say on campus is probably
Pretty flat.
pretty flat. So that's what we're seeing. Faculty argue that we're robbing from their classes. That's the reason why the face-to-face classes are flat,
Right.
is because we're robbing from their students.
Yeah, right.
Students.
We just will die, will it?
So,
Now I'm robbing them with dual credit, so.
Stop giving them options.
and then we've got,
You did take my class.
I know.
at 8 o'clock, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Right, that's right. What am I gonna do at 10 o'clock on Monday, Wednesday, Friday? I don't know.
And last year, we did a pilot of winter session, a 4-week class over the break, winter break, and we did 6 classes last year. We're doing 20 this time.
How many of those students do you know were your matriculating students, or do you know if possibly the percentage of those students that came from some other institution in the area knock out a class?
I don't have the exact data, but we have a lot of students coming from 4-year schools knocking out those general credit hours. I would say probably half of them. And the same thing is true in the summer. I would say at least half, maybe 3/4 of the students in our summer classes coming home, getting a cheaper credit hour at Johnson County as opposed to at the universities. So, and what's fascinating is that these students from the 4-year schools understand how to get in early and register for classes when our own students can't even figure that out. You know, they sort of procrastinate till the last minute and try to do that. So, did that answer your question?
Yeah, well, yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if I go to IR, they would tell me, you know, the
Yeah,
specifics on that. But, you know, I'm excited. You know, I do have sort of an additional role now as part of the Ed Tech Center, and so keeping these guys happy by going to Home Depot, you know, that I'm happy with that. All right, so Darla, looks like you and us are the only ones left. Any final words for us, Darla?
I was really interested in everything you said, though. We're kind of looking at our space on campus as well.
And I, you know, the other thing I have to remind my president is that as online classes continue to grow, you know, keep us in mind for money too. That there are some things that besides bricks and mortar that we might want to do on our campus. And so we'll see how that goes. So, well, anything else? I'll go ahead and I'll stop the recording and send out a link to everybody. But thank you everyone for showing up today, and enjoy this beautiful weather that we have.
Ed, when's our next meeting?
It would be the first, is it the first Thursday
Thursday.
in December?
So the 8th?
So let me come over here and look at my calendar. So why do I not have that on there? Oh, that would be the 1st.
Oh,
Is that right? So it'd be
7th?
Thursday, the 1st of December.
First, okay.
Is the first Thursday.
And presumably we'll have a,
So let me look and see if I can find, you know, the collab and send out invitations, if that's okay with everyone.
yeah.
To do that, and we'll furnish lunch.
Is that the date? Is that the tour date then, or?
That's what I'm looking at, Darla, is that our next meeting is Thursday, December the 1st. And so I'm going to try very hard. We may have to go have lunch someplace else, but we can always walk into that lab and take a look and see a lot of other resources. So that's my plan, is to meet at Johnson County on Thursday, December the 1st.
Okay.
At 11 o'clock.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, very good. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And I'm going to go ahead and hang up then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.